Hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a real honor. I'm the CEO and founder of eToro, the largest social trading network in the world, where we have 11 million users from more than 100 countries who can trade stocks, commodities, indices, currencies, and cryptocurrencies. We were very lucky to start looking at blockchain and crypto back in 2010, where we really got fascinated around that technology. And that also led us both to invest in crypto early on, but also to launch it on the platform early on and see the immense growth and customer excitement and demand for cryptocurrencies on the eToro platform. We took part of that into something that's really we're passionate about, which is how to fix one of the biggest problems in the world today. And we believe we can use blockchain technology and created a non-profit research hub to figure out really how do we fix or improve inequality. My clicker doesn't work. Can you help me? Okay, so can you help me with a clicker for a second? Okay, I'll start talking while I'll fix it. So as I'm sure a lot of people here know, now I can see the screen here. One of the biggest issues in the world today is wealth distribution and inequality. And today, 94% of the wealth in the world is actually held by the top 20%. An even more mind-blowing number is the richest 26 people in the world have more wealth than the lower 3.8 billion. And in general, inequality is a problem because when inequality happens, it leads to basically populist movements, it leads to instability, and it leads, in a lot of cases, history shows, eventually also into violence. And we do see that inequality gap growing. And even worse, we're expecting now, I just also a tweet from the OECD around this, we're expecting artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation to actually replace an additional 800 million jobs in the next 10 years. And there's a very big questions of what are these 800 million people are going to do. And I think the great thing is that a lot of very smart people and a lot of very wealthy people today understand that this is a big issue, and it is the responsibility of the, I'd call it elite or the top percentiles to make sure that we fix this problem before it becomes too significant. A lot of people, starting with Thomas Paine a long time ago, talked about a potential solution called universal basic income. I assume because of this room, can I get a raise of hands how many people are familiar with the concept of UBI? So I'll do faster that part. But really a lot of people from the entire sort of political range have been talking about the concept of universal or unconditional basic income and how potentially it could help solve that problem. You also see some of the richest people in the world like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg basically owning that problem of inequality and understanding that they need to give back in order to fix the problem. And this is very much a part of laissez-faire, of market structure. So some people consider UBI to be something that's really around social welfare. But if you read about Milton Friedman's analysis of it, it's really about just changing mechanics to create something that's fairer, but can be as free and as open. And the concept is very simple. Think about economy as a game. The easiest game to think about is Monopoly. Think about playing Monopoly with 10 of your friends, but one of you isn't getting any money to start with. It's going to be very hard to play the game like that. And the concept of UBI is just to make sure that when people sit around the table and play the game, everybody starts with something basic so they can become rich and build towers in the game. But the problem with a lot of the research around universal basic income is the fact that most people, when they think about universal basic income, they think about national universal basic income, about is this something that our governments or local governments need to fix, and then it becomes a very political discussion. And generally, people don't like to necessarily pay more taxes for something that's very hard to understand, to analyze, or to prove that can actually work. So generally, a lot of the proponents are saying we don't want to add another layer of taxes in order to test something. And obviously, no single government will say, okay, we don't need any more of the taxes that or social welfare system that we've built so far. Let's start it from scratch. And that's really where we believe there's a new opportunity. And when we think about what we've seen in cryptocurrency, and again, as you can expect, I'm bullish on crypto in general, we're seeing basically a paradigm shift, new basically potential opportunities of new currencies that are not national currencies, that are not government-led currencies, but people use those currencies both as a unit of account, as a medium of exchange, and as a store of value. And that is, in my opinion, a great paradigm shift and a great revolution in the history and the future of money. In addition to that, blockchain technology also enables us to use smart contracts, or actually write code into money, and creating out of money something that's programmable, something that we can agree on via code, whether you can think about the 21 million cap of Bitcoin. So now you can actually write in Ethereum smart contracts any type of code that can govern that type of money. And that new money, crypto money, is accessible anywhere, it's exchangeable, it has low fees, or in some cases, zero fees. It is programmable and can be smart money, and it's independent of one specific politics or governments. But the problem with cryptocurrencies is actually, if you look at inequality in crypto today, it's actually worse than inequality in the most unequal countries there are. And I'll be one of the very few Bitcoin bulls who actually quotes Nouriel Roubini here. But I think that's a very big problem. And the reason I think it's a problem is because what we see now in a lot of Latin American countries is where there is economic meltdown or turmoil, you actually see, you have that data online to see that some people are actually flowing their funds into crypto. And if that accelerates, whether in the developed world or the developing world, that means that just increases this use of new technology, actually increases the level of inequality rather than decreases it. Which is why I think the crypto community and the blockchain community should also take that responsibility to understand how we fix that problem. There are today about 30 different projects. We are sponsoring the GoodDollar project. We have found 30 other teams working on the concepts of what we call open universal basic income, or how can we build universal basic income as a parallel economy to basically the existing infrastructure. How can we build a cryptocurrency that generates UBI? And as you can guess, because these are all nonprofits, very passionate people around the same subject, there are a lot of collaboration between these companies. The GoodDollar, we consider it as a UBI experiment. We're a group of PhDs in electrical engineering, economics, and computer sciences. And the concept is, how can we create a model of a fairer economy that has a better wealth distribution system? And how we can use blockchain technology to really build something that's really decentralized, which means that once we've built it and launched it, it's beyond our control. And the key elements that we're looking at is how can we make something that's accessible to everyone, which in finance is really hard, and obviously a lot of people here in the room are involved and understand the issues of financial inclusion as well. that the good dollar can be exchangeable to other currencies, has actually zero transaction fees ideally, only in good dollars, and has a fair wealth distribution. And when we look at the project, different research parts, it's really about connecting. So a big part of why there's negative sentiment around cryptocurrencies is the disconnection between cryptocurrencies, or the anonymity of cryptocurrencies. So really a big part of that is, if we want to create UBI on the blockchain, we have to connect an identity of a person. So we want a blockchain wallet where every person has basically one address, and that address connects directly to his identity. There are a lot of great projects working on that. We do believe this is a solvable problem. To basically enable then what we call social interest is, how do we mine coins and give every single person that we've identified basically one good dollar a day. And the third part is, how do we build this as something where it's truly decentralized, and we're looking at the models of decentralized autonomous organizations. So we're actually writing code where the people who actually own the good dollar make the voting on how to upgrade the system of the good dollar, and basically there is no corporate structure around it. It's everything around people who own good dollars, and then people who can vote with their good dollars on how the good dollar economy works. And the way it works for users is actually super simple. It's a mobile app where you open an account, you identify yourself into the blockchain using face recognition, and every day you can claim to basically get $1. So get one good dollar a day and keep the bank away is just something very simple that we found eventually leads to a fairer distribution system, and is much simpler than other models that we looked at. The entire project is under a non-profit organization both in the UK and Switzerland, and we already launched an alpha version of it. Again, we're looking at this as an experiment. By the way, we have 750 employees in eToro, and the first usage of these experiments is actually using the good dollars in eToro, understanding how can we use good dollars to basically create more engagement and more positive contribution internally. And the way it works is very simple. People can just open, and unlike different blockchain wallets, every 24 hours, they can basically claim one good dollar and get one good dollar. From our economic framework and research, there's another benefit for claiming other than the technical part, and that is that when people need to claim the one good dollar a day, we assume by definition that people that need it will probably collect it more easily or more frequently, and people that don't need it won't collect it, which again creates a better, more equal system. And you can see here how after we collected one good dollar, he basically used the send and receive just like any other blockchain wallet. And again, we sort of connected two very big problems. One is identity on the blockchain, or the fact that crypto is anonymous. And the second part is most people in the world simply don't have crypto. They don't have digital currency. So if we give away digital currencies to anybody who wants at one good dollar a day, potentially we can significantly increase the usage of cryptocurrencies. From our research, what we've been able to show is that within a system, so if we assume we're actually mimicking the existing economy, but we're saying every person gets one good dollar a day, we've been able to significantly improve the Gini coefficient in such an environment. And again, the whole concept here is this is new money. This is completely orthogonal. So it's not like we're asking to finance $100 billion of real money into the economy. This is all virtual. And over 15 years, we basically see significant improvement just by creating this $1, one good dollar a day within the ecosystem. The biggest question, which I'm sure is running in people's mind here, is, wait, what is the value of one good dollar? What can I buy with one good dollar? And that's the other part of what we're building. We're basically building an ecosystem for merchants or for people to sell goods and services for good dollars with a very clear statement that every person who sells actually any goods or services, and we are in the information age, more and more of our goods and services don't actually have a cost to them. So if you sell goods and services for good dollars, you're actually doing good in the world. You are actually donating some of your time and effort, goods and services, by selling them for good dollars. And we're basically building an ecosystem for people to collaborate and build those goods and services. So far, we've funded the project. We'll keep on funding the project for the next 3 years. And we're looking always for partners to basically scale this. A lot of it eventually we believe will be dependent on seeing real people using it. And again, this is why we're looking at this as an experiment of giving away as many blockchain wallets and as many good dollars as possible, and then enabling a community to find a way to hack value into it. That's a very quick overview of what we're thinking of. It's, from our point of view, a very long-term project. So this can happen in 3 years or it can happen in 30 years. But we did believe that with the crypto rally and with organizations like the OECD doing blockchain events, that this is the right time to think about these concepts. Thank you very much.